Hello YouTube viewers, Mack of Mack's Mechas coming at you today with the video review I promised about, must have been a fortnight ago now, yeah. Sorry about that, I've been away on holiday and just got back to work after a lengthy time off for medical reasons I'll not get into, but today's review, Steelbane. I'm not sure what to make of this figure. I mean, he's alright. He's definitely better than most of the Dinobots from Age of Extinction bar Scorn, but that's not really saying much because they weren't great figures to begin with. Now, he doesn't really have much in the way of articulation in his dragon mode here, or wyvern, before somebody corrects me on that, but he does have, thanks to transformation, multiple neck joints, and he's got a little ball joint head, and he's got an opening mouth. He's not exactly Smog, but you know, he does the job. No joints in these legs other than a little bit of movement up and down. They're on a ball joint in here actually, but you can't really, you can see that in there, but they can't really move back and forth all that much. Well, not independently anyway. They have to move together. Open these out and you can unfold the wings, both sides here. And then sort of stand them up like this if we just move this. For God's sake. Yep, it's very hard to get these joints here in the legs to turn, but they do turn. And he doesn't really... Well, actually, that doesn't look too bad. Just angle that up there. Yeah, that's about the most you'll get out of him if you want his wings spread. Unless you have a stand to connect down into here. In terms of accessories, he only has one, which is not too bad. It's actually just stored back here, as you can see. It is pegged in here. It is just a simple sword, which you see him with in the film. No spoilers there, but it's a very soft rubber, so you might find it warping a bit, and you'll have to bend it back into shape. Bit of hot water will do that just fine. So, getting him transformed into robot mode, just flip the jaw in, turn the head around, and fold this entire thing back, flip its foot, flip those horns down and just keep at like that. And then you sort of do the same on this leg. You bring instead this tail here in and flip his foot out. And one thing I forgot to show on this side is to bring his knee to the front. Back here, you're just going to want to lift this out of the way and just keep them off here for the meantime. It doesn't really matter if you fold the wings in or not because they're just going to get in the way anyway. You're going to need to really work with them as you transform this. In here, you can just see that there is a tab here that locks into here on either side, so just undo them. And that's going to allow you to, let's see here, yep, bring this around to here, or this side actually. As you move this out of the way, you're going to want to take this leg and rotate it around this side. Yeah, I've got these legs the wrong way round. This leg rotates around to the right. Or is that his left? That's his left. That's his left leg. That's his right leg. Sorry. So we'll do the same on this side. And bring it up. And you can see just in the waist, that just connects in. And now things are finally getting simple. You want these folded back in a bit so that they don't catch on anything down in here. So that you can slide this all down, revealing his head. You bring this back here, and you can see in here under his arms, where these are going to line up with these, just like so. They don't really tab in all that well, but it holds. There we go. Just keep these off to the back out of the way and do the same here. And there's that done. Fold the shoulder armour out. Flip his hands around and close them up. And then the last step is fold these legs at this joint here. You can see, just move this wing out of the way. They tab in here, so you just want to undo that tab, fold them up, and now you can fold these wings however you want. I just like to take this top piece as it's lined up and fold it down and just leave it like that, because he can lean back on that then a wee bit. If you put him here, trying to get him to stand is a bollocks, so give me a second. Nope, he's not going to. Ah, no. God's sake. There we are. And after lots of fiddling, Steelbane is now transformed into his robot mode. And even in robot mode, he's a bit of a mess. Now, he looks great from the front. If you get these wings all just lined up equally at the back, even still, he doesn't look that great, because you're going to find yourself having to constantly move these parts around to balance him, which leaves him a bit misproportioned on each side. That's about the best that you'll get him. I think the problem really comes down to the likes of the legs being so loose at these joints, so tight at these joints, and then the feet have really no motion to them at all, other than a simple ball joint, but it's so tight on either side with these shin armors getting in the way that you can't really do much with him. And that's really what lets this figure down, is that everything is so really stiff in lots of places, but really loose in other places it needs it, and it just keeps falling. That said, he does look fantastic. He's got this really nice sort of rustic, dirty look to him that makes him, well, fuck it, the movie's been out for long enough now at this point. He is found on board the ship under the water, and for something that's been trapped under the water for centuries, he does look the part. He looks very dirty, very rusty, almost sort of this kind of barnacle colour to him here, like he's just been encrusted with them for years. But I think he looks really good, and his sword definitely shows its age. It is banged up, destroyed, but it still looks really good with him. So just give that to him there, and it is nice soft rubber. As I said, you could probably do some wear and tear to that sword, it would look even better. Probably dry brush this really nice chainmail down here that he has in the waist, and you can see he's got this really nice blue here. I like to think maybe that might have been the colour he was before all of this wear and tear. That would have looked pretty cool. Maybe they could give us a clean version of him at some point. Well, I say that, they've already announced they're not doing any more merchandise because of how rubbish this film did. Not very fond of the colour in the wings here, but then again they were trying to go for a kind of realistic, fleshy, scaly kind of colour, which doesn't really look well when it looks like some kind of safety mat texture to it. You just take this sword, you can peg it in here. I would have preferred if it was at a bit of an angle, but again they were working with the ball joint on that. Articulation on him, like I said, is a bit fiddly. So his head is on a ball joint, so it can go up and down, it can rotate, but it's very, very stiff, almost clicking. Shoulder armour moves independently, allowing his arm to come up about that far. It can actually go up further, but the shoulder armour just bounces it back down. And then there's a rotation here, just before the elbow. Elbow joint's not that bad. And he does have some wrist articulation as well, just part of transformation, but it's also there. No waist movement whatsoever. ball jointed legs come up and back however freely you want them, but they also can separate if you aren't too careful, because that is just a friction joint in there. The knees are different on each one, only because with this you can see the tail gets in the way, so that's about as far as you're going to get. And on this one just a little bit further. They do rotate at the knee, but again that's another really stiff joint in there. And his foot does rock back and forth quite a bit. And then you have that ball joint that should allow for more movement than just, well, that's about it. A little toe wiggle. Now one thing I do like is that the wings can still be used in robot mode, which if you flare them out nicely here, it does look pretty cool. Let's just get them all set out. And we'll set him back here. Hopefully he'll stay still. Yeah, that looks pretty awesome. From the right angle anyway, but sure. We'll just leave him standing. Hopefully get him to stand. So size comparison, only thing I have handy is just here, Robots in the Sky Starscream, and believe it or not, that was more expensive than he was. And this is really, really light. I mean, this figure is as simple as you get compared to him, who is very complex, lots of details to him, and yet he was cheaper than Starscream. But I suppose that's all down to demand, really, because the likes of other figures like Bumblebee and Optimus in the Robots in the Skies range, they go for about £8. He was 18, and that wasn't online, that was in a shop. He was $16.50. Well, I'm not sure where to go with it from here. I don't really feel like this adds a great amount to my collection. I don't think that unless you're a completionist there's really much reason to own this, or if you like the Beast Wars and you want something very movie-esque that was very Beast Machines, Beast Wars looking, I'd say it's still a great addition to that. But other than that, I mean, he sticks out like a sore thumb. He's not really a Dinobot, and unless you were a big fan of The Last Night, which I really doubt you were, I don't really see any reason to get him. I mean, I got him because I had the chance to get him, that's really about it. So I'm going to go ahead and say 6 out of 10. He's alright. He's not the worst, he's not the best, but he could definitely have been better. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video review.